Hey, everybody. Hello, hello. This is Virtually Inspired, the show that is all about helping you up your game when it comes to virtual experience design and facilitation. Let's change the landscape of virtual from awful to awesome. I am Melissa Dinwiddie, and I infuse connection, joy, and delight into virtual trainings and events. I do also work in person, but I spend most of my time virtually working with innovative people-first organizations that are grappling with boring or non-existent virtual trainings or events to transform them into creative, interactive, playful experiences that attendees rave about because they learn new skills and behaviors while building connections and having a blast. So welcome. Today's guest was supposed to be Vibke Wimmer, but she's sick. So I'm improving today. It's just me, another solo episode. And I thought that I would share with you little sort of tricks of the trade and secrets about how to get a virtual engagement, a virtual meeting, any kind of virtual event off to an interactive and engaging start from even before you start, even before your content starts. So before I even get into that, let's talk about just any event. I want you to imagine that you're going to an in-person conference, an in-person training, any kind of in-person event. I mean, it could be a baby shower. Maybe you drive there, you park, maybe somebody else pulls up their car, or maybe you've ridden a bike, maybe you've taken the bus or public, other kind of public transportation. Maybe you arrive at the same time as somebody else. You say hello to them, like, oh, are you going to the same event too? You chit chat, you get to the door, you have to find your way. You have to maybe figure out where the room is, where the event is happening. There's a little bit of interactivity happening between you and, the other person or people as you're finding your way. You find the room where the event is happening. The host of the event sees you walk in. They say hello and welcome you. Maybe there's name tags. They direct you to the table where there's perhaps name tags. If it's a party with gifts, maybe they direct you to where to put the gifts down. So there's interaction happening. There's engagement happening. Maybe they direct you to where there's a table with coffee and refreshments. There's engagement, right? They maybe direct you to where to find a place to sit, put your stuff down. Maybe they tell you, maybe they give you some kind of a prompt to start to interact with other people. Maybe they ask you a question about, how was your drive? What was the experience like to get here? Did you have a hard time finding the place? They engage you in some kind of interaction. All of this happens before the official event has even started. You've started to connect with some people. You've started to connect with maybe the host, maybe some of their assistants, some of your fellow attendees. The official content hasn't even started yet. And already you're engaging. Already you're interacting. This is so easy. We don't even necessarily think about it so much. I mean, ideally, you are thinking about it if you're planning an in-person event, but it's kind of built in. Unless you are kind of a sociopath, you're doing those kinds of things, planting the seeds that this is going to be an event where people interact with each other, right? That's what happens with an in-person event. Now, with a virtual event, we don't have that luxury. There's no automatic spontaneity that's going to happen with a virtual event. And people are going to land in your virtual room at all different times. And there's no way for them to, turn to somebody else and start to have a conversation. So we have to build that in. How do you do that? Well, I like to do that by using what I call unofficial starts. So what is an unofficial start? An unofficial start is just an activity that the host drives that gets people connecting with you as the host, with each other. It could be so simple. I mean, as easy as just asking a curious question and having people answer in the chat. So easy. So as people are dropping in, as they're logging on to, Zoom or Butter or whatever platform you're using, hey, welcome everybody. How was your weekend? Let me know in chat. What did you do this weekend? What's something new or different or special that you did this weekend? So easy. Now, it doesn't have to be that question. It could be any curious question, but just get people answering a question in chat. What are you planning to do this weekend? A favorite sort of variation of this that I really like to use is write a 6-word story in chat of how your day has gone so far. Gets people using their creativity. It's a little fun. It only takes 6 words, and it gets people engaging. You're planting the seed that this is going to be a lean in, interactive, engaging experience, not a lean back, I can turn my camera off and go take a shower while I listen kind of experience. If you were going to do that, you could just send a link to a YouTube video. All right, so that's one idea. Second one, name that tune. This is especially fun if your theme is something around listening. Like, for example, in 2 days, I'm doing one of my learning lab workshops. I do these every month, and the theme actually is around listening. So I'm going to start I'm going to use it as my unofficial start activity, name that tune. I'm going to put together a playlist of theme songs from TV shows and movies, and one at a time, I'll cue up a song and tell people, get your fingers ready. As soon as you recognize this song, type in chat, what is the show that this song is from, or, what is the song, and we'll see who can identify it fastest. Again, it gets people listening, paying attention, engaging, and there's a little bit of a fun competitive element to this one as well. So that's a fun unofficial start activity. Next one, word clouds. I love this company, Mentimeter, www.mentimeter.com. Does anybody say www anymore? I don't know if they say that anymore. Anyway, it's mentimeter.com. And this is just a screenshot of what their word clouds look like right there. And if you haven't experienced word clouds before, what happens is you give people you go in, you create a Mentimeter account. You can get a free account. They also have paid accounts as well, but you can do, I think it's up to 3 slides, and they have all different variations, one of which is word cloud. And you give the people in your meeting a link. They go to the link either on their phone or on their computer, and then they can input. You specify as the host. You set this up in advance. They can input however many words you specify. Now, you got to let people know, if you do word clouds, you want to let people know that they, how do I say this? The more people put the same word, that word is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So in this example, we've got UX designer is like the biggest one, but if somebody put UX designers plural, it wouldn't be added to that would show up as a separate word, and it wouldn't make that UX designer get bigger. I hope that makes sense. So anyway, word clouds are fun because they move and grow and change in real time. So I really enjoy those as a way to get people engaged and involved. But you got to make sure that you use them in a way that people understand. They're not appropriate for every single kind of polling activity. So that's a fun one. Next one, trivia. Google trivia questions. They can be especially fun if they relate to whatever the theme of your event is. You might want to put some slides together. You don't absolutely need to, but that can add a little visual element to it. That can be a really fun unofficial start activity. Polls. Polls are always an easy one. It's not particularly innovative or glamorous, but people do like to answer polls. By the way, Mentimeter has some really fun and visual polls. So if you'd like to do something a little bit different from your typical Zoom poll, check out Mentimeter. Next one, name game. One of the things I really like about the Zoom platform is that it allows us to rename ourselves, and we can use that to our advantage. So we don't have to just use it to do things like add our pronouns or add our location. We can do some things that are a little more fun and different. So, for example, ask people to rename themselves as the first word that comes to mind when you say any random word, and you'll get a room full of random words that relate to whatever the word is that you said. For example, everybody rename yourself to be whatever the first word is that comes to mind when I say the word carrot. I don't know. That's just the first word that sprang into my head. Do a few of those. It's kind of an interesting team building activity because you get to get a sense of how people's minds work. And then you start to see patterns that develop as well. Oh, I see 3 people renamed themselves as orange, or 3 people renamed themselves as vegetable, or whatever it is. So that's kind of a fun one. And then also you can cap your event by bringing that same exact game up again at the very, very end. And if your event has a theme, and use that theme as the prompt. So say your event was about, I don't know, leadership or communication. Now, instead of having it just be random words that people that you use as your prompt, now invite people to rename themselves as the first thing that comes to mind when you say the word leadership or communication or whatever it is. So that's kind of a fun one. Or invite people to rename themselves as the last thing they ate, how you feel right now, and the last thing you ate. So you might be happy oatmeal or tired bacon, or whatever. Those are fun and silly perhaps, but just another way to get people engaged, and also an interesting use of the naming tool as a way to instead of using the chat. So next one, annotation. Zoom has this great annotation tool. Now you do have to make sure that it's turned on in your Zoom settings. So you have to go log on to your account at zoom.us. Make sure annotation is turned on. And then also, once you're in your meeting as a host, make sure that that annotation is turned on for your participants. Then you have to make sure your participants know how to access the annotation tools, which is, as a participant, when they are looking at their Zoom screen, in the upper, the this is challenging to explain this because I don't have a visual, but the top right of their Zoom screen, there will be a button that they will click on, and then there'll be a drop-down menu, and there'll be in that drop-down menu will say annotate or annotation. I'm sorry, I don't have a video. I should have a visual for this. Anyway, once they click on then it'll bring up the toolbar, And then you can open up, actually, this is rewind. This is after you have opened up an image, a map, a matrix, whatever it is you want them to annotate. Open up that image as a screen share, and then that will bring up a bar at the top. At the right-hand side, they can click on view options, I think it says, and that will bring up a drop-down menu. Then they can click on annotate. That will bring up a toolbar, and then they can have at it with drawing tools and stamping tools and things like that. So that's a fun one. You can get people to stamp where they live in the world, things like that. And then the last one is related, get people to draw. So you can open up a whiteboard, for example. And I really love this one. I learned it from Deborah Schifrin. Was it Deborah? Yeah, I think it was Deborah Schifrin, who is a fellow facilitator. And I love to do this. Open up a whiteboard or just a blank white image, screen sharing, and invite people to draw what they want to get out of your meeting. And let them know that they're drawing, because people are scared of drawing, most people, their drawing can be representational or abstract. And again, they'll need to use the annotation tools in order to make that drawing. That is always a really fun one. Or you can just open up also, you can open up like a coloring page and just invite people to draw in the coloring page. That's a fun one too. So these are a few unofficial start activities. This is by no means, exhaustive of the possibilities that are out there, but there are 8 different sort of thematic ideas for how you might unofficially start your event on a virtual platform like Zoom, planting the seeds to let people know that this is an engaging, interactive experience for them to look forward to. This is how you might spend the first 3 to 5 or even 10 minutes before your official content starts. You might open up your meeting 10 minutes before your official content starts. I always like to allow a little bit of time for people to sort of, settle into the room before I really dig into my official content. But this is what shows them, yep, this is going to be an interactive, engaging, lean forward, hands-on experience. So I hope this has been helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always find me at creativesandbox.solutions and of course over at LinkedIn. And I did also want to let you know, if I think I did tell you at the beginning of the session, and it's an outdated one. So that's outdated because that shows last month's Learning Lab. So this month's Learning Lab is actually May 19th, and the theme is listening. We did mindfulness last month, so we're going to be doing listening this month. It's May 19th, but everything else still applies. If it is your first time coming to a Learning Lab, you can join for free using the code FIRSTTIMER, and the URL to join is, let me share that right now. There we go. bit.ly/monthly lab, capital M, capital L. And I hope to see you there. And again, it is not April 21st. That was last month's lab. It is, why is this not changing? There we go. May 19th, Thursday, May 19th is the next Learning Lab, 11 a.m. Pacific time to 12 p.m. Pacific time, just one quick hour. Hope to see you there, and bring a friend or come yourself for the first time using that code FIRSTTIMER to register for free. Now, next month, 2 weeks from today, on, what's today? On the 24th, today's the 10th, 2 weeks from today is May 24th. If I do not have another guest that calls in sick, my guest will be Brian Rolnick-Fox, who is the founder, CEO, and chief learning evangelist of Nimble Learning Strategies. He has been using improvisation as a channel for individual growth, group development, and organizational success since 1999. And he is committed to nurturing a yes and mindset so we can all access more acceptance, appreciation, and action within ourselves and with others. And I am really looking forward to getting Brian on the show. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell to get video updates. Thanks.